Anyway, y'all starting late.
Call this meeting to order, the Rockledge City Council regular meeting Wednesday, March the 19th, 2025, and it is 6 p.m. City Clerk, you want to call the roll?
Mayor Price.
Here.
Councilman Kador.
Here.
Councilman Ferguson.
Here.
Councilwoman Martin.
Here.
Councilman Forrester.
Here.
Councilman Daskey.
Here.
Councilwoman Connor.
Here.
City Attorney Vose.
Here.
City Manager Petro.
Here.
Okay, please stand for our invocation. Councilwoman Connor, you got it?
Yes.
And remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
God, please help this city to be a place of peace, growth, and unity. Help its streets to be safe, its neighborhoods strong, and its people kind to one another. Grant wisdom to its leaders that they may govern with integrity and compassion. May its green spaces flourish, offering rest and renewal to all that enter. Guide its growth to be thoughtful and balanced, preserving the beauty of today for the generations of tomorrow. Bless those who protect us, who teach us, and those who serve, that they may find strength in their work, and may every resident and visitor feel a sense of belonging and hope within its borders.
Salute the flag. Thank you. You may be seated. Okay. The council has before them the minutes of their regular meeting of February the 19th and the special meeting of March the 6th, 2025. What's the pleasure to council?
Mr. Chair.
Yep.
I move for approval of the minutes from the meeting on February 19th, 2025, and of March 6th on 2025.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Presentations, let me come down from my presentation. Okay. All right, this is City of Rockledge, Florida mayoral proclamation presented to the government finance professions. Whereas the Florida Government Finance Officers Association is a professional association founded in 1937 and serves more than 3,300 professionals from state, county, and city governments, school districts, colleges, and universities, special districts, and private firms. And whereas the Florida Government Finance Officers Association is dedicated to being a professional resource by providing opportunities through education, networking, leadership, and information. And whereas Government Finance Professionals Week, sponsored by the Florida Government Finance Officers Association and all of its member governmental organizations, is a week-long series of activities aimed at recognizing government finance professionals and the vital services that they provide to our state and our community. And whereas during the week, government finance professionals throughout the state of Florida will be acknowledged for their hard work, dedication, and leadership. Now therefore I, Thomas J. Price, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Rockledge, Florida, do hereby proclaim the week of March the 17th through the 21st, 2025, as Government Finance Professionals Week in the city of Rockledge, and call its significance to the attention of all of our citizens. And this is for you, Matthew. Thank you very much.
On behalf of the team.
Great.
Thank you, sir.
We okay? We'll take one afterwards if we have
No,
to.
no, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, we go ahead and do that.
Oh, hang on, you know Michael Cador. Let's hope it's not good.
Yeah, right. A selfie.
He'll just Photoshop himself in.
Exactly. We know that.
Okay, our next is employee recognition. 35 years of service, folks. This doesn't happen very often. Nope. But it does happen. Tina Ramos, come on up, Tina. Tina Ramos, Coordinator Sanitation, Grounds Maintenance, and Beautification Divisions, Rockledge Public Works Department. Tina, on behalf of myself as the mayor and the city council, the citizens of Rockledge, and your fellow employees, please accept my congratulations on your recent completion of 35 years of employment service with the city of Rockledge. In these 35 years, you went from a laborer in sanitation, then promoted to sign maintenance tech, recycle specialist, foreman of ground maintenance, and because you exhibited a high standard of work outcomes and a consistent dedication to getting the job done, you kept moving up the supervisory ladder to serve as the coordinator overseeing the sanitation, grounds maintenance, and beautification divisions. Your commitment to quality service for our citizens has never lessened. You have always been motivated to resolve problems. You are trustworthy and dependable, looking to better yourself and your leadership skills. You have always been willing to listen to your team members to improve on the processes in place, and you inspire and encourage your team to expand and grow to any situation. The city of Rockledge is fortunate to have such a tenured veteran member among its ranks that cares about her team and her community. I thank you for your service to the citizens of Rockledge. You are part of a team that provides a vital service to the community. Keep up the good work. And here's your certificate. I got something.
Yeah, I got one.
Oh, not yet. Since you already got the fancy pen, diamonds, 30th year? Yes, Frank.
I just want to know, with all the stuff he does over there, what's VJ do?
She makes VJ look good.
I told you I'd get you.
That's why you surround yourself, if you want to be a good supervisor, you surround yourself with very good people. And he's done that. I know from my experience, if I need anything over there with sanitation, I call Tina or Heather. Is Heather not here tonight? Yeah, Heather or Tina. They get on it. It gets done. You guys are amazing. You do a great job. Let's get a picture.
Oh, my goodness.
You do.
Our next presentation is our auditor, Christine, right? From Carr, Riggs, and Ingram, CPAs and advisors.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm the partner who oversaw your audit this past year. So you've already received a copy of the financial statements. I'm just going to take you on a high level of some highlights through. I'm not going to read through all 160 pages with you. So you did receive an unqualified, unmodified opinion. That is the opinion that you want to receive. It doesn't sound great, but it is actually a clean opinion. Your general fund increased its fund balance by $3 million this year. So it primarily increased with your revenues, went up $2 million, mostly because of property taxes and investment earnings. So the market did well this year, so that helped you out. Your expenses were up $1.4 million, mostly due to the fire station. So you did all that rehab on rebuilding the fire station. So that was $1.4 million. And so you have almost 14 months worth of expenditures in your unassigned fund balance. So that's very good. The Government Finance Officer Association recommends at least 3 months, but that's for everybody. And in Florida, we have a hurricane. FEMA takes 3 years to pay you. So having 14 months is excellent to have in there to pay for those
How
expenditures.
much did you say was in there?
14 months.
14
So you have
months.
over a year, yeah.
Okay.
In your CRA fund, you used $2 million of your fund balance, which is good because you only have 2 years left on the CRA. So most of that was spent on the new multi-sports complex. And again, your ARPA also used $2.6 million of the grant. It's now all obligated and you have until December of 26 to finish the spending of that. So you're mostly waiting on that fire truck to come in. Your wastewater fund, you have almost a $4 million increase in your net position. So that's basically your equity, but it's not sitting in your unrestricted, like you've charged the residents and it's sitting there to use. It pretty much all went into your fixed assets. So you've brought the money in and now you're rehabbing and renewing all that infrastructure. We did have one finding this year related to recognizing the receivable and the unavailable revenue. So you got some grants this year, and if the cash doesn't come in within 60 days of year end, you don't record the revenue, but you have a receivable and an unavailable, which only happens in government accounting standards. It's very odd. So number-wise, it was a large dollar amount because it was a fair amount for the grant, but qualitatively, was I worried about how you were managing it? No, we did a single audit. So we tested the grant for compliance and no compliance issues. It wasn't that the city didn't know about the grant or know it was happening. It was all in the CFA, properly disclosed. It was just a recording of where it was in your financial statement presentation. So do I think if it had been recorded that way, you would have operated any differently? No. But since we had to propose the adjustment, that's why we had the finding. So Tara, since you haven't been through this before, besides the financial statements, since you spent over $750,000 in grant funds, we also do a single audit. So we test the grant specifically for compliance. We also have to do an examination over your investments to make sure you're following Florida statute. That was also fine as well. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions for our auditor?
I just have a question, not about the report, but with the funds, the CRA and the ARPA funds, if they're unused,
What happens?
where do they go? What happens? Do we have to
Yeah.
turn them back in?
So the ARPA funds, you had until December to obligate them. So you've, ordered the fire truck and the other things that it's obligated for. So if it's not spent, so the money doesn't, not that the check's written, but you've at least gotten the goods or the services by December of 26, you'd have to give them back to Treasury. And then with the CRA funds, anything that's left when it expires, you'll kind of split it between this was the city's input and this was the county's input of what's left. And then you'd have to give the counties their piece back.
Okay. All right. Okay. Just want to, well, we're hoping.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions of our auditor? As always, everybody has your full package, a lot of reading to do. I'm sure we will do it all. And if they have any questions, they will be able to get a hold of you.
Yeah.
Christine.
It's exciting to do it.
I know Frank's probably already read it.
Line by line.
And I will
Chair.
need a motion
Mr.
to.
Chairman,
Yes,
move to be in receipt of the audit.
Second.
we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Christine.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your
Yeah. Okay, financial budget report for February 2025.
Mr. Chair,
Yep.
I move to be in receipt of the financial budget report for the month of February 2025.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Public ordinances, public hearings, ordinances and resolutions. We have a ordinance first reading and public hearing.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I'd like to offer an ordinance number 1921-2025, voluntary annexation of 2.0 plus or minus acres of property, 3400 Morel Road, Faith Baptist Church of Rockledge, Inc., ANX 24-01. I move for the first reading by title only,
And open for
Open
public
for-
hearing.
and open the floor for
Public hearing.
public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance of the City of Rockledge, Brevard County, Florida, annexing by voluntary petition certain real property totaling 2.0 plus or minus acres in size and owned by Faith Baptist Church of Rockledge, Inc., which property is located at 3400 Morel Road, Rockledge, Florida, bearing parcel ID 25-36-21-00-3, which property is contiguous to the city in accordance with the voluntary annexation provisions of Section 171.044 Florida statutes and other controlling law. Said annexation being pursuant to petition for voluntary annexation, ANX 2401, filed by or on behalf of said owner, redefining the boundaries of the city to include said property, incorporating legal description and map of said property, providing for implementation and notice to appropriate agencies, and providing for findings, conflicts, severability, non-codification, and an effective date.
At this time, I declare this matter open to the public. Do you have any cards on this one?
No cards on this one.
Anybody like to speak about this annexation? Seeing none, I close public hearing. What's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Move to authorize additional publication and a second public hearing to be held on April 2nd, 2025.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ordinance B, first reading, comprehensive plan amendment to future land use map.
Mr. Chair.
Yep.
I move for the first reading of a comprehensive plan amendment to future land use map, MUPD 7, Mixed Use Planning District 7, 2.0 plus or minus acres, 3400 Morel Road, CPA 24-1, to be read by title only and to open the matter for to the public.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance of the City of Rockledge, Brevard County, Florida, providing for a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment concerning real property totaling 2.0 plus or minus acres in size and owned by Faith Baptist Church of Rockledge, Inc., which property is located at 3400 Morel Road, Rockledge, Florida, bearing parcel ID 25-36-21-00-3, from Brevard County RES 15 designation to Rockledge Mixed Use Planning District 7 designation, and providing for findings, conflicts, severability, codification, and an effective date.
Pleasure of council.
Mr. Chair,
You have to open for public.
This one,
there is no public.
There is no.
Not on this
Oh, I'm
one.
sorry. Go, yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I move to authorize publication and public hearing to be held on April 2nd, 2025.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? A C ordinance, first reading, establishing a zoning designation of P1 professional for the new annexed property.
Mr. Chair,
Yep.
I'd like to offer an ordinance establishing a zoning designation of P1 Professional District on 2 plus or minus acres, 3400 Morel Road. That's ZDA 24-01, and move for the first reading ordinance by title only.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance of the City of Rockledge, Brevard County, Florida, changing the zoning classification for real property totaling 2.0 plus or minus acres in size and owned by Faith Baptist Church of Rockledge, Inc., which property is located at 3400 Morel Road, Rockledge, Florida, bearing parcel ID 25-36-21-00-3, from Brevard County INL zoning classification to Rockledge P1 Professional District zoning classification. amending the zoning ordinance and zoning map of the city of Rockledge to reflect the change of zoning and providing for findings, conflicts, implementation, severability, codification, and an effective date.
What's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. Chair,
Yep.
I move to authorize public hearing to be held on April 2nd, 2025.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Reports from boards and committees.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I move to be in receipt of the minutes of the following meetings. Council Finance and Budget Committee minutes of meeting on February 19, 2025. Community Redevelopment Agency Board of Commissioners minutes of meeting on February 26, 2025. Planning Commission minutes of meeting on March 4, 2025, and to consider any recommendations contained therein.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. I didn't hear it. I'm sorry. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, our first recommendation is approval of the proposed budget meeting calendar year of 25-26.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I move to approve the budget calendar as presented.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, our next recommendation is Community Redevelopment Agency Board of Commissioners, approval of Community CRA Commissioners Chair and Vice Chair for calendar year 2025.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I'd like to move to approve the chair and the vice chair of the Community Redevelopment Agency Board of Commissioners for calendar year 2025.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Third recommendation, award disposal of real property 1152 Luther Drive after due diligence conducted and credit worthiness established. City Manager, you want to talk about this first?
I'm happy to, Mr. Mayor. You all may recall this was a result of a blighted property for over the years. I won't say the name of the family, but anyway, the city, through code enforcement, finally acquired it through the tax deeds and then got it appraised. And then it does sit in our CRA sub-district, so it had to be advertised in the paper. The city did so. We received 3 offers on the property, and this $50,100 was the highest. And in fact, it was appraised at $35,000, so the city is going to make a few dollars. Back to you, Mayor.
Everybody remembers this property. This is the one I continued to bug our city attorney on foreclosing. Took us 3 years, about 3 years. Cross, off of Merle Road there, Luther Drive, off of Merle Road. Okay, what's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
Move to approve the recommendation and authorize the city manager to follow the appropriate channels for disposal of the property to the winning proposer once due diligence is conducted and the creditworthiness is determined.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Finally, we're going to get this property out of our life, I hope. Okay, Planning Commission, we have a recommendation denial of zoning district amendment from C2, General Commercial District, to RMU Redevelopment Mixed Use District. And I'm going to let John Cooper come up and talk first on this, and then we're going to have cards. Do we have cards on this one, Tim?
From the applicant, yes.
Okay, before we get started on this, I would like to, for the record, I'm going to be abstaining from voting on this. I have met with Dr. Itakuli for at least 3 times over the last year and given him advice on this property. And I have not received any monies. I have no contract for him. But I am now, as everybody well knows, I'm in a consulting part of my business. I'm no longer building. And so being that could be a possible conflict, I am abstaining from the vote on this. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is John Cooper. I'm the Community Development Director for City of Rockledge, address 1600 Huntington Lane, Rockledge, Florida, 32955. The Planning Department received a zoning district amendment application for a parcel totaling 1.01 acres, addressed as 1029 Florida Avenue, located south of Bougainvillea Drive and the west side of Florida Avenue. The applicant is seeking to rezone the subject property from C2 General Commercial to RMU Redevelopment Mixed Use. The subject property is currently developed as office space with the building of approximately 4,000 square feet. The office space is used as medical offices. It is located within Planning District 2 with an existing zoning of C2 general commercial. The surrounding properties are all within the same planning district with commercial zoning on all sides of the property. The intent of Planning District 2 is to provide the area opportunities for business development and commercial activity. The items that I'm going over here in this presentation is strictly items of the comprehensive plan and of the land development regulations. Development in this district will be primarily wholesale trade, retail trade, business and professional offices, public and semi-public services, and such other uses which support and compatible with the intent of this district. Zoning districts that may be appropriate for this area after due consideration by the city include RMU, C1, C1A, and C2. Other zoning districts shall be limited to existing uses which may be changed and approved if consistent and compatible. So the two things that you'll hear is consistent and compatible with our comprehensive plan and with our land development regulations. The two things that I'm obligated to make determinations on and make recommendations on. In our comprehensive plan, it states that existing residential development shall be retained on Florida Avenue. New residential development will be allowed in the redevelopment mixed-use RMU area as defined as follows. North city limits to the north, Dixie Lane to the south, US 1 to the west, and Florida Avenue to the east, comprising of 16.2 acres. So according to our comprehensive plan, our land development regulations, RMU districts, redevelopment mixed use, and residential development is limited to 16.2 acres along Florida Avenue in redevelopment mixed use. As you can see on the map, Planning District 2 redevelopment mixed use is confined to that area. So the interpretation to me is very clear that if we're going to do redevelopment mixed use, it must be in that area. Anything south of Dixie Lane is not permitted. That is one of the bases for my recommendation and determination. Residential development will be limited to existing densities, except for the 16.2 acres identified in Policy 2, which I just read to you, which means that if we're going to allow redevelopment mixed use in any other part of the area except for the 16.2, it shall remain at 14 dwelling units per acre. There's no exception except for the 16.2 acres. Those are two policies in our comprehensive plan. Principal uses and structures. The following uses and structures are permitted for any use and group that are developed, either separately or as a unit with certain site improvements. So in reviewing this application, this is the second time I've reviewed the application for zoning, and you've heard me say it lots of times. I believe that rezoning, and you do pay me for my belief and my determination that zoning should be beneficial to the city, not the developer, not to development, to the city, because the land is what the city's future is built on. It also has to comply with our comprehensive plan. Redevelopment mixed use, its intent, and mixed use development's intent is to have a development that comprises of commercial retail with residential in combination. And in doing that, our code, to me, clearly states that that is in a single unit in a single parcel. In my tenure, we have not rezoned any properties to RMU. Before my tenure, there's been 3 properties that have been zoned to RMU with the only benefit of expanding the density. And I do not think, or do not believe that that is the intent of RMU. RMU, as it states in our land development regulations and in our comprehensive plan, is to expand a downtown feel to give the feel of a commercial retail, like a live, work, play area. So if we are going to rezone this property with one of the most loose interpretations, I believe that it should be done according to our comprehensive plan. And if it's not done that way, then I don't believe that we're being true to what the redevelopment mixed use is. So I don't have a true recommendation either for or against, but I do have an interpretation of what our comprehensive plan says. And it does not support having redevelopment mixed use in the form that's being presented outside of that 16.2 acres. If you have any questions, I'm available for
Anybody
you.
have any questions for Mr. Cooper?
Just to clarify, this is the property, didn't we look at this property
It was about a year and a half ago, right?
and we determined at that time that not suitable, at that time they were proposing apartments backside of the
That's
lot,
correct.
Right?
That's
And
correct.
Now this is proposing apartments backside and the north side, did I read that right?
Yes, there may be modifications to that, but it's a similar project. It is still a proposing residential multifamily on the same parcel with the office use.
Right. And about a year and a half, 2 years ago, that it wasn't even planned, as I recall.
That's correct.
Any other questions for Mr. Cooper?
Just one, Mayor, so in your interpretation, this does not fit our comp plan, correct?
In my interpretation, it does not.
The gaining or sustainability of this for the growth of our city, that still remains, it does not fit our comp plan or benefit the city versus the developer, or
So as far as my interpretation, I do believe the city has a need for true mixed-use development. But true mixed-use development in its form is, as our comp plan says, it's having a development that has the retail commercial on the bottom floor, as our comp plan states, and having residential on top of that. That is a single building or a single unit that is developed that way. That's what our comp plan calls for, and we have yet to see that in the city in any type of development. So if that was the product that was being presented, that would be a different story. That would be a different conversation. But that's not what's being presented. And RMU giving that as a choice for rezoning, I don't believe that that fits what our comp plan says.
I think what he's talking about, like down in Cocoa Village, where you got a storefront.
And
apartments on
residences
top.
upstairs.
Right. Our code speaks to that specifically. A certain percentage must be retail or commercial, and then the rest would be residential with parking underneath or garage parking.
Mr. Mayor, I
Yes.
have a question. With regard to the minutes from the March 4th commission meeting,
Right.
there is you made a recommendation to the board that they consider applying conditions.
Right.
And it ended there. Was there any discussion to your recollection and
Yes, ma'am.
why conditions were not applied?
So there were any conditions applied because my recommendation at that point was the same. I always try to make some type of headway with an applicant or with an application. And instead of giving a determination about what the board should do, my suggestion to them was, if you were going to recommend approval, that you should apply some conditions. Because if you just recommend approval for RMU, it opens it up for these many things to be done. So if the recommendation is to approve, then there should be some conditions attached. That was what that conversation was. So it wasn't anything specific at that time. It just should be part of the conversation.
Okay, and there is no further dialogue, so I'm just concerned that we're going to be setting a precedence.
There's no precedent set with zoning.
If we make concession and approve this,
Okay.
we will be setting a precedence.
Okay.
You're not supposed to vote on it.
Well, it would be in the best interest if he's not voting for him not to.
Right, and I understand.
Right.
But do you feel as staff, because we as this board are looking to you
me.
and to the commission for
That's why I wanted to see it,
direction?
so you can look to me.
Okay,
So in what you're saying, as far as setting a precedence, as a zoning official or planning director, I don't believe that that zoning decisions set precedents because we view them individually. However, to your point, by allowing RMU without a condition, or allowing RMU with the understanding that the applicant wants to do a particular thing without any conditions, then you would be doing something out of the ordinary or something different than what the city has typically done. So I do believe that. We have approved RMU at other areas. Madison Groves, where Old Searstown is, Rockledge Flats, those two areas. Those were areas where there was going to be a complete tear down and rebuild of apartments, and we knew exactly what was going to be built and done there. This is an area where there's an existing building. We know the intention is to keep the existing building, and then the last presentation was to add 2 other buildings on the lot with the hope to have a maximum density of 25. Now, there is discussion about reducing that density, but if you're going to do that with mixed use on a single lot, the intent of what mixed use is in our code is different than that. So I do believe, yes, you would be.
thank you.
Go ahead.
If we're going to, first of all, we've considered this before. Basically, we denied it before. Now it's coming back asking for more units than we denied in the first place. That's causing me a little bit of trouble right there. And the other thing I would say is, I'm not really rule follower. People who know me will tell you, but if you're going to have a rule in our position, we need to follow it, not change it willy-nilly, whatever comes down the line because somebody has an interest in a particular. We got a rule that says that's not what goes there. That's not what goes there. If at some point in the future change what can go there, and I will throw in now that closing of the hospital and the fact that that area through there is primarily medical, in a year or two, we may need to look at changing zoning there to accommodate something other than medical offices that we've got now. Need for those to go away, I don't know. But that's something to consider at some point down the road. But I don't see any point, I'm going to be comfortable taking a bunch of apartments, office complex, office area. So, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Cooper? At this time, I declare this matter open to the public. Do you have cards?
I do. I have a card from the agent and the applicant and the applicant's agent. So, Dr.
Who wants to go first?
Idikula.
Doc, we need your name and address for the record.
Yes, of course.
All right. Praveen Adikula, 1059 Jacaranda Circle, Rockledge, Florida, 32955. This is regarding, but I'm the agent for Space Coast, applicant and agent for Space Coast Real Estate Trust, located at 1029 Florida Avenue, Rockledge, Florida. So yes, we had our previous meeting in March of 2022. And so first, we still want to rezone it from C2 to RMU. The property is located on Florida Avenue, which is a redevelopment district. And yes, I believe there's a precedent there already, which is Madison Grove to the north, Bavarian Auto and PureTech to the south of the property. And then on Eyster Boulevard, there's 150 Eyster Boulevard, which is on the corner of Eyster and Edwards by the railroad track. That's RMU. 411 Dove Avenue, which is a duplex, that's RMU. 1750 Cogswell Street, that's a single-family house, that's also RMU. And 1727 Baldwin Street, which is vacant commercial land, that's also RMU. So first, let's read some sentences from the RMU code, which I got from the Munich code. And I circled it in green. So the first one, this is for the residential uses. So it says that A, residential uses in the form of attached or detached units may be developed within a single structure or within a multi-use building. So Mr. Cooper is saying that for it to be a true RMU, it has to be in a multi-use building with commercial on the first floor and then residential above it. But the code says you can have just a single structure also. So somewhere the code evolved. And there are other places like that where they have it single structures. And then the next bullet, the first bullet, it says units may be single family, multifamily, garden apartments, etc. And so we'll be asking for multifamily. The third bullet says resident uses may be contained within a single area of the development parcel, or it may be included in a building with non-residential uses. So again, you can have it one building with residential uses only, or it can be in a mixed use building with the residential above the commercial. And all attached residential units shall have no less than 550 square feet. So if it was commercial, multifamily will be 800 square feet. So that's the minimum. And then the sixth bullet, it says attached residential units in a mixed-use building must be located on the floors above the commercial uses. So let's call that vertical RMU, where it's commercial on the first floor and then residential above it. And the other one, horizontal RMU, where you have a building that's 100% commercial and another building that's 100% residential. So those are the rules that apply there. And then on the second page, the bullet number 6, that's for non-residential uses. That says that you can have professional offices for doctors, dentists, lawyers, etc. And then the third page, J number 4, states that distance between buildings shall be the minimum necessary for fire access and safety, and in no case shall exceed 10 feet, except where required by the fire code. So that's basically saying you can have a mixed-use building, or that's vertical, or mixed like two separate buildings, 100% residential, 100% vertical. And they all have to be within 10 feet of each other. So the previous objection was spot zoning. So we believe that's false because right now it's C2. And under C2, we can, the whole parcel can be office building. We can build just office building. And I can also build just apartments, the whole parcel. It can't be, you can't have two uses in C2. You cannot have apartments and office space at the same time in C2. So, but if I were to do it separately, that's fine. So either case would not be spot zoning. So how can it be that if it goes to RMU, you're still having the commercial building there, you're just adding the residential behind it. So we don't believe that is spot zoning at all. And the other reason is, of course, the density bonus. In 1 acre, you can only get 14 units, and in C2, but in RMU, you can apply up to 25 units. And as I said before, the square footage, it's 550. That's the minimum required under RMU versus 800 that's required under C2. So I believe that RMU also overrides the spot zoning issue because it's meant to revitalize the area, to bring more density, more businesses, etc. So any property, or like in Barton Boulevard, the first property that became RMU, some would say it's spot zoning otherwise. But it's not, because I believe it overrides it. So, and the other issue was, objection was not compatible with the comprehensive plan, but that's based on the spot zoning and the two uses issue. So I guess the real issue is it spot zoning? And yeah, so I know Mr. Cooper stated that the true intent is supposed to be just the vertical one where you have the commercial on the first floor and residential above it. But in my last presentation, I had buildings from Tampa and I think Orlando, which had it horizontal, where you have 100% residential and 100% commercial. So if you look 566 Barton Boulevard, I have the staff report, which is 2 blocks away from here. That was rezoned and it had commercial near it, and behind it, which is the north side, it has condos. And that there's a building height of 75 feet there. So let's see. Oh, and then finally, after the last presentation, I did speak with Mr. Cooper, and he did tell me that it may be possible in a year or so that there may be a mass rezoning of Florida Avenue, and but I haven't heard anything about it. But the email I sent him, I asked him about it, and he said he's still discussing that with the city manager. So that is my presentation, and I initially asked for, I guess, 2 separate buildings, but we can make some compromises if we need to and just have one building in the back. And we're willing to, of course, limit the height and the density. And of course, we're not gonna do any single family homes there or any kind of industrial. So, we agreed to those things. And so right now, if I build anything that's commercial, I don't think I can lease that. I don't think it's gonna work. So and there's a shortage in housing, so this will be perfect. Otherwise, the land is just sitting there. It's sat there for 25 years now. So that's what I'm asking. Any questions?
Any questions of the doctor? Thank you. We'll hear from the other card holder.
Before we go to the next card, Mayor, can I ask that Mr. Cooper responds to
Say, Mr. Eddie Gula.
Thank you.
Sure. I wanted to clarify a couple of things. I didn't mention spot zoning in this presentation because I didn't want that to be a focal point. I wanted to make sure that I gave you clear understanding of our comprehensive plan and our land development regulations. Those are the two things that I believe the determination of what you do with this rezoning should be based on. But in the definition of spot zoning, if that is the case, is the determination made by your zoning director. And in spot zoning, it's defined as when you rezone a small area or piece of property that use differs from the surrounding areas, potentially benefiting a specific individual. So when I say spot zoning, I'm talking about, and earlier when I said zoning should benefit the city's use, or the city's future, or the city's intent in its comprehensive plan. So RMU doesn't override spot zoning in any case. 566 Barton is not a development to where two uses are separate on the property. Any of the other developments is not developments where there are two uses on the property. And again, those properties as they're rezoned today was not under my tenure. Had they been under my tenure, my recommendations would have been consistent as they are today. I do not believe that zoning should be used as a tool to create Zen City. I believe that zoning should be used as it is written in our code. Now, RMU, as another point of reference, is written in our CRA code. Redevelopment mixed use in our CRA, it says that we should use it as a tool to redevelop, to do all these other great things, but it does not say that we do it because of the reasons that are being presented today. I don't disagree with the ability of someone to use their property, but I do not think or believe that that this is the tool or the avenue to do such. In the code, zoning does not set a precedence. It just doesn't. Our code clearly states, and there is no overriding it, that new residential development and redevelopment mixed use is only permitted in that 16.2 acres. I'm not interpreting it, I'm reading it. Even if there was an open interpretation outside of that, then I would give you that. But that's why I started it with, I'm not going to interpret it, I'm going to read it specifically and show you. So your determination or his determination can be based, I'm not giving you an opinion, I'm just giving you the fact.
Is spot zoning legal?
Spot zoning is illegal in Florida.
So, yes.
It's illegal. So when I think of spot zoning, I don't interpret it. What I do, and I tell the city manager this every time we talk about it, when I think about rezoning, I look at the applicant who's bringing it to me, and I take the applicant away, and I say, if the applicant doesn't exist, what does that rezoning do to the city and to the future of the city? Not the applicant, because I'm not there to, I say this respectfully, I'm not getting paid by the applicant, I'm getting paid by the city. My future is with the city. So how does this benefit the city in zoning? Because if I look at it individually, then we'd rezone everything. Every time I got an application, they would be like, well, I can't do that in C2, so I need to rezone it so that I can build apartments. Or I can't do that in industrial, I need to rezone it to residential so I can build houses. And that is why we don't do zoning based on what the applicant wants. It's whether or not it fits in our comprehensive plan and in our land development regulations, and why you hire me to interpret that.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Got another card?
I do. Jim McKnight, applicant agent.
Name and address for the record.
Jim McKnight, I'm planning consultant on this project, and my address is 1168 Shallows Court, Port Orange, Florida. The first thing I'd like to hit on is, as Councilman Martin brought up, precedent. And I do tend to agree with John. Zoning does not set precedent. Each one of those is done individually. However, if that were the case, there are already two properties outside of the map, outside of what he showed you, that are already zoned RMU, okay? So I could say precedent's already been set, okay? But I would also be a hypocrite because I believe zoning does not set precedent on that. Conditions I'll get to in a minute, but the CRA plan that was adopted in 2002, updated in 2012, was the impetus to create redevelopment mixed-use zoning. That was the whole catalyst to make that happen. And while this is in the sub-district 1 of the CRA plan, it is the entrance to the city of Rockledge. And of course, there are new apartments that have been developed there. I don't believe it's a true mixed-use project, as John has pointed out, because it's pretty much a residential project. It has some amenities that go with it, but I don't see that as necessarily a true interpretation of a mixed-use project. I think we all know the impacts that if a hospital closes or changes uses, that's even why I'm here. Okay, 1959, my dad began working at that hospital when we moved here. But the impacts on the professional commercial property are going to be significant. And it's already happened. It's not just, people say, well, just build commercial. Well, building brick and mortar nowadays for commercial, when you have e-commerce that has changed everything, COVID that changed everything. I mean, why are so many storage facilities being built? Because people work out of their homes and they store all their stuff, I use other words, but their stuff in storage facilities, or they store it at home so they don't have any place for the stuff they need at home on that. So when you're looking at saying to do that, I mean, Councilman Forrester may have a really good point. Maybe it's an area that needs to be looked at moving forward as to what really belongs here in this area. But specifically, this is an infill development strategy, and it's needed to provide continuity in development patterns and to strengthen the tax base. What are the advantages of infill development? What if they built a small apartment complex there? You don't have to worry about police and fire. It's already somewhat in the middle of the city. You don't have to worry about water and sewer. Those are readily available for this project. This project was supposed to be originally 4 commercial buildings, or I should say, let's call them professional. 3 were built, 1 was not. It is a open, vacant piece of property currently, but it's in with another piece of property, and it totals just over 1 acre. Florida Avenue has no concurrency issues when it comes to traffic, none. So what are the opportunities there to meet needs of housing, which we continually talk about, that people be able to attain housing? This is an opportunity to provide some. Maybe it's housing for service industry people that work in Cocoa Village. You have a transit stop across the street. Even people can walk to work. I wanted to highlight a few of the goals and objectives from the adopted CRA plan. One of them says to goal RP3, reuse of properties by virtue of value no longer function at their highest and potential use. RP3-4, the city and the redevelopment agency actively engage the private sector to undertake redevelopment projects such as redevelopment mixed-use zoning designation. This is right out of the adopted CRA plan. Goal ED1, promote economic vitality. We have a professional building built almost 30 years ago, and nothing's happened on the backside. And the way things are going, probably nothing will unless there's some creativity put in as to what should go in that location. ED 2-2, with the closing of the hospital, I'm not going to go over that again, but I think we have to look and see changes. Comprehensive plans and zoning codes are put in for a purpose. John's right about that, absolutely. And by the way, I greatly respect this man, okay? We've had some great conversation. We don't always agree, but we agree a lot more than we disagree on that. But, you know, a look at see what is going to be best for that area, okay? This council will decide that moving forward. Adding up to 20 residential units is what we were talking about, would have a minimal impact on traffic and not impact any of the residential areas. Objective LU16, encourage mixed-use development at an appropriate scale in the Florida Avenue area. LU2-2, the project will promote architectural integrity consistent with what is already on the property. That was one of the main things of redevelopment, bringing, you know, architectural continuity to different properties. Goal, this is from housing goals. Promote workforce housing opportunities within the redevelopment district. HS1-1, market areas where private interests can develop housing and necessary support facilities in the redevelopment area. HS1-2, establish a safe, functional, and aesthetically pleasing environment. HS1-3, identify areas within the redevelopment district that are suitable for increased residential district densities to encourage workforce housing. And finally, HS2-2, initiate infill housing development. If you look on the redevelopment map, this property is encompassed by something that says reinforce and infill. So it's recommended for infill by the plan that was adopted by the City Council. The question comes down to, does RMU belong on this property? I think the redevelopment plan favors RMU even on smaller parcels. It's easy to just focus on big parcels. I understand that. And in my opinion, the city has done a great job in getting new development on Sears, the old Sears, getting Village Green is really nice, what's been done there. And I know there was some things done where the old Bells was at, now that you have housing in that area. Those are examples, in my opinion, of successes using the RMU zoning. I really don't want to hit on spot zoning. I think that's been beat to death. But when you have this the uses that are being proposed on this property are both within the C2 that exist on the property today, it can't be spot zoning, okay? It just can't be. That's where John and I disagree, obviously. But because it's two separate uses, the only way you can do it is under the RMU. You can't do it under any other code because it is two different uses. You've got a site, you know, somebody asked about parking. Well, it's already got 27 spaces on site, and there's about 4 used every day. My suggestion is the following. Chapter 62, 181D provides for binding development agreements. It's got to be consistent with state statute. And I believe this property is a property that could be considered for that. In 62, 184, it says a singular non-residential building or a mix of non-residential uses, non-residential and residential uses. It doesn't have to be in one building. It can be, as long as it's the same property, it can be on two parts of the property. Even in the staff report for 566 Barton, it said, as the city continues to grow and opportunities for revitalization within the CRA districts present themselves, mixed-use development is the perfect tool to enhance those efforts. Again, I don't think it's only applicable to vacant properties. I think the whole idea was to redevelop. You know, some of that is rehabilitation of properties as well. Part of this property is vacant for sure. My recommendation for consideration would be to talk about conditions, to come up with a binding development agreement that would limit height, that would limit density. In other words, if you can only get 14, density bonuses only to a certain level, no higher than that. and also to limit uses that can actually go on that piece of property. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Jim. Anybody else? This is still open. Anybody else in the audience wants to speak on this rezoning? Come forward. Just hand your card to the clerk. And you can fill it out later. You can fill it out later, but make sure you get it to her.
Yes, of course. Thank you
And
so
I need
much.
your name and address for the record.
Yes, my name is Nathan Dreiser, and I'm on 954 Brunswick Lane, Rockledge, Florida 32955, and I wanted to speak in favor of redevelopment and rezoning of this area. So, Mr. Cooper talked about how we need to, he basically said we need to stick to what matters to the city. And I agree with that. That should be the main priority, is what matters to the city and what matters to the citizens. And I think mixed-use zoning is an underused tool in that, and not in this area. I think this area is much better than most areas, but I think that this is a good opportunity to bring more people closer to the economic centers of the town, right? You have more people there instead of 25, 30 minutes away. I'm probably like about a half hour away by walking. Something like that is, it stifles the economic development somewhat, right? It's not going to completely kill it necessarily, but having people closer to where they shop, where they do things, benefits that place a lot. And it also is making use of currently unused land, right? And from what it seems, it's not going to get used anytime soon if we don't do some sort of infill. So I believe this does benefit the city, right? Right now, it's basically a waste of money for the city, right? You could be making some sort of tax benefit from this. And something like this would benefit you. It would benefit the people who end up moving there because they're near the commercial districts. So I think overall, this does benefit essentially everyone, in my opinion. And yeah, that's essentially it. I just think that this is a good thing, and I think that it should be supported by the council. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else in the audience like to speak on this rezoning issue? Seeing none, close the public hearing.
Mr. Chair,
Hold on a minute.
I'm sorry.
Let John speak first. Okay. John, you want to speak?
Just a little. Let me clarify one thing that I think may be lost in some of the conversation. I definitely support redevelopment mixed use. No doubt about it. City manager heard me talk about it hundreds of times. I think that it is an appropriate and underutilized tool within the city, within the state. To be honest with you, I think it's a way that we can get workforce housing and we can get affordable housing. I think it's a great tool. But what I think about that and where it belongs according to our code are two different things. This, as I read to you before, specifically says that it's not permitted according to our LDR, which overrides our CRA guidelines, which overrides our land development regulation, says that it doesn't belong there. And that's what I presented to you. There's a distinct difference between zoning and uses. Yes, there are uses that can go on this property. Apartments and or office buildings. Those are two uses that by right can go in C2. Those are uses. That is distinctly different from zoning. If that were the case and he could put apartments on there, he would put apartments on there and not ask to rezone it. But we're asking to rezone it because there are two things that are needed. There's density needed, and there's need to benefit from the RMU category or other things. So if the unit size wasn't the issue, the density wasn't the issue, and the need to keep the office space wasn't the issue, we wouldn't be having this conversation. That is the need to rezone. So if we kept everything out in the open, yes, they could put apartments on there under C2 right now. They would have to tear down the front building. They're two different uses, not zoning. Zoning is completely different. So I don't disagree with the need. I'm not disagreeing with even the want. I'm just saying that according to our code, according to our regulations, it doesn't belong there. That's all.
Any other questions? City Attorney, did you want to speak?
Mayor, I don't have anything to add
Okay.
right now.
Anybody else? Okay, I'm looking for, turn it over to the council this time. I'm looking for a motion to either approve or deny or any other kind of recommendation the council might have.
Mr. Mayor, please excuse me. If this is not approved, I guess Mr. McKnight talked about maybe looking at some other areas or some way we can kind of bring this thing together that it works. So I guess my question is to the doctor, if I can, Mr. Mayor. What else, if this is denied, what else?
Well, you don't,
All right.
I can't let you talk to somebody in the audience.
Okay.
You got to talk amongst the council here at this time. The public hearing has been closed.
Yes, sir.
So, you could ask questions to the council, you could ask questions to the city manager, what she would recommend.
And that's, guess, what I'm asking. Doctor, what other, if we deny this, what can be done? Is there some kind of putting these plans together to make what works? Does that get a discussion? Other alternatives? That's what I'm asking.
I believe, Councilman, thank you, that if this were to be denied, that the applicant could continue to have conversation with Mr. Cooper to see how the application might be modified to in fact fit, no? This dead if it gets,
If I may.
Yeah.
So if it's denied per our regulations, the application in its form cannot be reviewed for 12 months.
okay, sorry,
That's correct.
thank you.
Another issue that lies, and help me but the RMU is tied to our CRA, and our CRA sunsets in 26. So that's another consideration. So unless we have a plan in place to do something differently with that zoning district and those regulations, then that sunsets in October 26.
Did I answer your question? Or make you more confused?
Probably more confused, but I get it. That was my concern. I think Dr. Well, John.
It's up to the city council. I mean, I've got a lot of things I could say, but I can't discuss this as per the city attorney. Once I abstain, I can't get involved with the discussion at all.
Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
I know when we looked at this the last time, the discussion did come up about looking at that entire area and changing it. I think Frank alluded to that as well. Obviously, we're not in a position tonight to do that, but I think, in my opinion, it's probably something that the city needs to look at going forward, whether that's 12 months, whether that's 18 months, or whether it's 24 months. But I think we all agree that there's probably better uses for that particular area that we could make fit if we do the proper way of doing it. It's just, we're not there tonight.
We're not.
It just seems to me like, and I'm setting all the zoning and land use and thing aside completely. What we're really talking about here is up in an apartment building down in the middle of a bunch of office. And that doesn't sit right. It doesn't seem like the right time and place to do that. So I'm a big fan of vertical redevelopment. I like the concept of business, office, first floor, things, same building above that. That's even down in Kentucky where I grew up, that was what downtown considered. Stores on the ground level and apartments above it. I like the concept, but I don't like the idea of, got a vacant acre and apartment building with undetermined number of units up down in it. Makes sense to me. I'm going to close it.
And I agree with Frank. I particularly have a concern right here off of Cogswell. This was a residential neighborhood that I grew up in as a child. Marita Bakery used to be right there where Blue Marlins is. And if you go through that development now, there are automotive shops in there. There is a crematory in that residential neighborhood that has elderly residents. So when it turned into a mixed use, that's exactly what you have now. There is a 2-story building that appears to be a business, a commercial business. It appears that the top floor are residences and the bottom floor, some type of a tool shop is being run out of it. I would not want that in my development. I don't think anybody that lives here in this city wants this type of, or any of our residents that we represent want this type of mixed use within the city. So if at some point various areas would be more accommodating for this type thing, and if at some point the Florida Avenue parcel, you mentioned sunset of the CRA, if you want to look at it then, but for right now, I would not be in support of this. And if I'm in order, if there's no more discussion, Mayor, I'd like to make the motion to deny.
Go ahead.
Motion to deny.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same.
If I may,
Sure.
is there a direction to review that? We'll discuss it.
I
Okay.
think his direction is for you and the city manager to continue to discuss that. Okay, reappointments and appointments, we have none. Appointments, Planning Commission.
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
Move to appoint Gregory Quinnos to the Planning Commission.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. Quino's in the audience? Nope. Unfinished business, none. Consent business, Councilwoman Connor?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move for approval of these consent business items. A, approval, street resurfacing list for fiscal year 2025, VA Paving, Inc., Public Works Department. B, approval, annual maintenance fees, BS&A, Enterprise Software Finance Division. C, approval, extension of agreement for wastewater treatment, engineering consulting services, Black and VTech, Beach Corporation, wastewater treatment department. D, approval, fence replacement around retention pond in Pine Cove subdivision, East Coast Fence, Public Works Department. E, approval, race management services agreement for 4th annual Rocktober 5K, running zone race management, city manager. F, approval, negotiation of memorandum of understanding, MOU, with City of Cocoa Beach concerning emergency response team, ERT, operations, Public Safety Department.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. This is consent business. There is no discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New business, action item, city manager annual performance evaluation. Thank you all for turning in your evaluations on time this year. I was very impressed, Frank. And as you can see, our city manager scored a overall job performance rating of 4.90 out of a possible 5, which equates to a rating of superior. So congratulations to the city manager. And again, thank you all the council for turning in your evaluations and getting them to me on time this year. I really appreciate that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
move to accept the city manager annual performance evaluation.
Second.
we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Yes.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to the mayor and council for the evaluations and the feedback, and I look forward to continuing to work with all of you very closely. Thank you.
Okay, petitions, remonstrances, and communications. At this time, does anybody want to come forward and speak to their Rockledge City Council about anything to do with the city of Rockledge? It's your turn to come forward.
Mr. Chair, I have 2 cards this evening.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll take yours too. First is Juanita Thomas.
Come forward, ma'am. State your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Juanita Thomas, and I'm at 875 Bartell Lane in Rockledge, in Levitt Park. My concern, boy, I tell you, this is official though. My concern is the signs, and you need to school me about this. Our Levitt Park sign is so far off the road, and it's up under oak tree, that when people comes to visit us at night, they can't even see the sign. So I think also when I was coming home the other night, I almost missed the turn. So my thing is, can we get another sign? I know the park is there, and the park is wonderful. And they tells you about the park, that thing, monument is great, but I think we need another sign that we can see so that we can also tell our visitors when they come what time of night it is, that they can see it. That's one of my pet peeves. I can't see the sign. And I know last time they trimmed the oak tree that's in the man's yard. And that was great, but still, until you see the water from the fountain, I know that's my turn, but I don't see a sign.
Right.
So if someone could just tell me about this, I'm really not political, and I'm really not maybe expressing myself, but it concerns me. I've been in that neighborhood for 28 years. I came from Melbourne, and I just have a pet peeve about it.
Yeah, okay. This is not the first time we've heard this, not about that sign, but other subdivision signs. And there's, fortunately and unfortunately, we don't own that sign. The original developer put that sign in when he developed Levitt Park, as is Woodsmere, as is Georgetown, and the other older subdivisions in the city. Back in those days, there was no homeowner associations. So
Well,
they
we
didn't
don't
turn-
really have one there. It's it's one street, which is Emerald, I think it is, Emerald Boulevard or something. That's
It has
HOA.
That's a different,
It's in Levitt Park. So it's a different thing.
It's not in Levitt Park, it's on Levitt Parkway, but
What Parkway? That's
Yeah.
true.
it
I
has
call
its
all
own
of that.
subdivision,
I
and it
call
has
all
its
of
own
that
homeowners
subdivision.
association, that's
Right,
correct.
right.
I know what we've done in the past as the city, and that's going to be up to this council to decide that tonight, is we've come in and we've painted the signs. I don't think that sign needs to be upgraded, it just needs to be painted and possibly some solar lights put in.
Yeah, that will
'Cause
work.
There's no electricity there
Anything will
to-
work,
There's
you
no
know.
electricity there to hardwire any
Oh.
lights to it, so it'd have to be some type of a solar. But if it has a tree overhanging it, the solars aren't gonna work either, so I don't know what we could possibly do.
Well, that's
City-
why I'm coming to you, because I don't
manager?
know.
What do you think, city manager?
Mr. Mayor, as you mentioned, there are 4 to 6, I know VJ may want to say a word or two, Mr. Mayor, the microphone's back there, VJ, but ma'am, thank you for coming out and
Oh,
sharing your concern. And very respectfully, as Mayor mentioned, the city does not own the sign, yeah.
Okay.
And so as we start, if we were to take on one sign, all the other areas and neighborhoods might come to the city and say, now you're responsible for it. And then it would become perhaps annual or every other year. And so, again, very respectfully, the taxpayers would be taking care of a sign that's in just Levitt Park. And so we try to be very careful. We want to take care of what the city should be taking care of.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this would seemingly belong to the subdivisions and the residents in there. I don't know if you know, I think it was last year, the sign at Woodsmere was hit. I think there was a car accident there. And they contacted the city and we evaluated it and the same situation occurred. And so those residents came together and actually replaced that sign themselves. And it looks very nice, of course, but they took care of that. So
Well, maybe that's a
respectfully,
thought.
council, that's up to you all, but that's what I
Yeah.
recommend. We'll get in that business. We're going to be in that business forever. And other taxpayers, again, I'm sorry.
Well, it
ma'am,
is in the city of Rockledge,
Yes,
you
ma'am,
know,
it
so,
is.
I mean, it's kind of like you go to a doctor and you don't know what doctor to go to.
Yeah, but
So
that-
again, that's why I'm coming, because I don't know.
I know.
Yeah.
But respectfully, I.
So any
wouldn't
ideas from
recommend
the
it.
city council, what you want to do here?
There a grassy median intersection?
Yes.
You want BJ?
Not sure.
Yes, it
Yes.
is. Yes, it is.
In the upcoming years, FDOT has plans to put a signalized intersection at Levitt and Lakemore, so there will be illuminated signs like you see at some of these other intersections. It may not be a subdivision sign that says Levitt Park, but it will have a street sign up on the mast arm, that says Levitt Parkway. So,
That is, what, 3 or 4 years away, though?
Exactly,
yeah, I mean, it's a couple years away, but it is coming.
yeah.
And then I'll be 80 years old and I really won't be seeing it. So, all right. Thank you anyway for your time.
Ms. Juanita, just before you go,
hang on, we're
this,
not done
one
with you.
second.
Hang
We're
on.
not done just yet. Thank you for coming. Thank you for presenting that and the idea and the concept and the information that was presented by VJ and the city manager. It still brings us back to what can we do in Levitt Park? I lived in the Emerald Way. I lived there for over a decade in the Rockledge area. So I understand exactly what you're talking about, but let's continue to have some thought on whether it's some of the citizens or someone coming together to do something in that area, because you're absolutely right. I know the term because of the water fountain in the street, but it is back. But let's look at a way that we can maybe having some of the citizens within that neighborhood or something, because I don't think there's an HOA or anything in there, but something that we can do to help rectify that before 3 or 4 years down the road. But thank you for coming and presenting as well.
But I think if I may tag, the concern is not so much with that sign as it is with the lighting. And we know that we're years down the road before DOT puts in a light there. And I think I know there have been numerous accidents at that intersection. So if we could, in some way look at what we could do as a city to better the lighting there. Mayor, you mentioned there's no electric there. If Dr. Fetro, if we could, we've got to have, these are taxpayers and that we're also putting their livelihood at stake. When you go into that development, the lighting at night, the lighting is just very poor. Anita's my good friend, and I think this is her first council meeting. She's been a resident for 28 years. So we're just glad to have you here tonight, my dear friend. But more than anything, we're concerned about the safety of our residents. And the lighting there, VJ, is very poor.
I'm looking online and there's.
Can you talk, is your mic on? Thank you.
There's a light pole that's already there, and typically when you have intersections, you try to put the light poles at the intersections over the stoplights. So we'll have to look and make sure that stoplight, or I mean, that street light is working. You know, and also there's, you know, older oak trees there, so those trees may have to be trimmed back because they may be blocking, you know, some of the light as well.
Yeah, that's what we want to look at, those trees, if they need to be trimmed back. Also, I've spoken to Dr. Fetro several times, just within the last couple of weeks. And I don't know if this is an FP&L problem, but lighting on Fisk and Barton is very poor. I don't know if if they have them on some type of a timer where every other light, sometimes on one side of the road, you may have 3 lights that are out. So especially at that intersection, we need to make sure that that light is always on, that it not be on the schedule that they have with the other lighting that appears to be alternated. And Barton is as bad, and especially, I spoke with Dr. Fetro about near the railroad track. The lighting is terrible. We're about safety of our residents, so if we could look at that tree.
Sure, Councilwoman.
And the
And I-
lighting there, Dr. Fetro.
Yeah, and then right after we talked, I got with Michael Jarosevich, who kind of keeps after FPL, and he reached out to them, and we are looking at it and working on it. He's monitoring it. Sadly, we don't control FPL, but we'll continue to
Right.
push them and look at it. But I'll get with VJ afterwards, and go ahead, VJ.
And just so you know, all those lights are on sensors. There's really no timer to, you know, schedule when they come on and come off. There's usually a little, you know, clear, you know, plastic piece at the top, which is a sensor head, and it usually turns that light on, you know, when it starts getting dusk.
Have they all been switched out to sensors?
As far as I know, they've always been sensors.
Well, we have many lights that are out, so something is.
No, yes, I'm not saying
Something's
lights
wrong.
aren't out, because there's several lights that are out everywhere. We hear it on a daily basis,
Okay.
you know, and that is an FPL.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
We've
you
had
know,
problems with FPL over the last 2 years. Me and the city manager have been in contact with the rep with FPL, and they're saying they're going to resolve these issues in the city of Rockledge. But there's a lot of lights that are out and have been out for some time. Frank, go ahead.
What about, we had the little solar flashers out here on Martin. At the intersections, at the corners. What about putting those on the corners? So we've got the island, the traffic island in the middle of that intersection on the Leggett Parkway side. We could put a few around that island and then a few on each corner. And so that way, at least at night, you would have those flashing signals there. It wouldn't be, it's not as good as a spotlight or a street light, but it would be
BJ?
some way to see it at night. And inexpensive, I would assume.
yeah, that's a possibility, but you got to think that's FDOT right away too. So I don't know if FDOT would allow for those, you know, flash-in pavement markers that we have, you know, out here on Barton, that if they would allow those in their right of ways.
Yeah, that's another problem. That's a state road. That's not a city road, Fisk Boulevard, unfortunately. But why don't we have VJ and the city manager work on this for the next few weeks, come back to us with some suggestions at our next council meeting, and we will also be in contact with you, ma'am, let you know what we've decided, or you're invited back to the council meeting as well when we're going to discuss it. Okay, cool.
Thank you.
We like seeing you here. So let's figure out what we can do as a city council, and recommendations from VJ as well as city manager. And we'll go from there. Next council meeting, okay? Thank you very much, ma'am. Anybody else? You got any more cards?
I do. Frank Malowski.
Frank? Come forward, Frank. Need your name and address for the record, please, Frank.
Frank Malowski, 36 North Fernwood Drive, Rockledge. As I was sitting here going through this, and it's not a really big meeting, I don't know what it means to you to be retired.
Talk into the mic, Frank, so we can hear you better. There you go.
I can't get any closer. Okay, I'm a retired deputy fire chief, New York, and it was excruciating to have to sit through my board meetings, and it's so nice to be retired. I don't have to sit and listen to all this anymore. I'm here, your recreation place that you just built down on Godsing.
Cogswell.
Yeah, it's beautiful, it's great. I don't know, is there any pickleball players on this board?
Soon to be. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
You getting there?
Yes, sir.
All right. Call me.
Okay.
I've played all over the United States pickleball. I started out when rackets were wood, paddles were, you made them in shop class, you know. Now they're up to $275 for a paddle. But anyways, so everything's terrific over there. It's godsend to me and a lot of other people, and we're so happy. But I talked to the guy that runs it there, and to keep, the pickleball is easy. The hard part of pickleball, two things are the hardest thing in pickleball because it's mostly seniors. One is keeping score. Nobody can remember. The other one is not fighting on who's got the next court. And that, you get a lot of fighting over that. So everywhere I have been, the best way to do it is a large eraser board with at least 12 squares. So it's always 4 people. So you can put 4 people in one square, 4 people in the next square. Let's say there's only 2 signed up in the third square, and there are 2 excellent players, and the 2 other players aren't just very good, so they can go to the next square. They're not going to get stuck with 2 ace players. It's just the most perfect, and I've seen so many different ways. I've seen what do you call those things, lazy Susans? Where they put the paddles in. The old way is to put the paddles up against the wall, but then you don't know who they are, so you can't afford or try to play with who you want to play to your level. So the only way to do it, and the best way to do it, is a good-sized eraser board. So at your club, somebody knew about that, and they brought what the heck size was it? Oh, it was only 21 by 15 inches. You can't even get 4 names in that little square, especially if you have a name like mine, you know. So we're dealing with that. Plus, they put it up against the window that favors the office, and you don't want something in front of the window. You got a window there for a window. So, and plus, it's not stationary, and it's tilted up, and it keeps falling down. And I asked the manager there, and he said, "Well, we don't want to get involved with you pickleball players. We don't want to do anything with you pickleball." I said, "Can I donate one?" I mean, I donated one to Merritt Island, Woody Simpson. I donated one there. We started it in Vieira, you know, everywhere they have the board. So I want to donate one, but the manager says no, and I says, "Okay, so I'll come here and ask you if I can donate one." And then the hard part is squaring it off. So you buy it, that's easy, $20. But then you got to measure and get 12 squares that are perfect.
It's a chalkboard, you said?
Pardon?
It's a chalk.
It's like a whiteboard, like an eraser board.
Yeah.
Yeah, the eraser board.
Oh, eraser board.
Yeah,
The white
and
board.
then when you get filled up on the top, you take the eraser, you erase it, and the people on the bottom. Now, if they can count to 12, which sometimes they don't, you know, the 12, then you go back to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you know, so it just keeps people from fighting. Second of all, if you do let me have one put up there, number one, you guys will have, your maintenance will have to do it. And you've got, what do you got? You got 44 inches from the window to the door for the office. That's more than enough room to put it up with some lag bolts, okay? But you'd have to do the lag bolts because of insurance and stuff like that. Also, if I can to the board up there, I would like to put a post up of rules. There's rules that go with this board. Another reason pickleball players get into fights is that somebody will be out on the court playing, and they have their girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever put their name on the square to play. Well, you can't do that. It's cheating. If you're out on the court, you're done. You come. You're next. So there's all kinds of rules about using the board. Okay, and I think that's about it.
We'll have our city manager discuss this with our manager.
Yeah.
And we'll come up with something.
Yeah. And
we don't want, I think what he was trying to tell you is, we don't want pickleball dominating our building. We have other events going on there where people do sports in that one. And we just did not want pickleball to take over our entire gymnasium.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
No, you can't, putting the board up isn't going to do that.
Okay. I've had discussions. I'm Frank Forrester. I'm the guy that the building is named after. So I'm over there every week at least once. Talk to Jeff, who runs the place. Discuss putting the board up. Now I go over at a time when the pickleball people are still there. Now I go to play basketball, or at least I try to play basketball. Pickleball people are there, and I've talked to them, and they report, and I talk to them every week. They report no problems. Who's got the next game? Who's up doing what teams are playing? That has not been an issue for this group that plays there. Now, could it become an issue?
There isn't, because they have a board. We have a board. I'm just asking to put a bigger one.
Well, the board wasn't always there, but that's beside the point. The other thing is I've talked to about putting a board up for signing up for next up basketball. It's a possibility, but it's something we're still talking about and working. City clerk has your name and address. Up with something, get to the point where we're ready to commit to putting that. I think we'll get it put up for you. If you want to buy it, we'll let you know. We'll get in touch.
Okay.
You know that we're ready to do it.
Yeah. No, I'm not being like I know it all and I'm a whatever. It's just, that's the only, you go any place in the USA that I've gone, from Chicago to Boston, you name it. I travel a lot and I'm addicted. And first thing I do is look up where the pickleball is. And aside from outdoors, that's a different ball game. But inside, the board is.
Okay. John Cooper, do you want to speak?
I can. So I'm the director of the facility over there, and we have intentionally not put anything permanent on the walls for pickleball or any other sport, because if we did that for pickleball, then we'd be asked to do it for volleyball, for basketball, and any other thing. And because those are not permanent events that we host over there, we just host a facility for people to come and utilize it as walk-ins and whatever they do. We've chosen not to have anything permanent put on the walls to display rules or any other sign up. We expect the adults to facilitate how they're going to play and what order they're going to play. And the same with basketball, same with volleyball during those open hours. So we've intentionally not put anything permanent on the walls because of that. Because if we did it for them, then someone would ask us to do a sign-up sheet for basketball or a sign-up sheet for volleyball when we have open gym for that. And we're not going to be in the business of policing how people play their organized sport.
Okay.
I've never seen that problem in all the places I've played.
Okay.
Not to disagree with them, but it just doesn't happen. The only other sign you may have up there where it says no swearing, no spitting, no food, they put that up there,
Frank,
So-
I'm hearing you. Just additionally, Mr. Cooper and I have been discussing, and for council as well, we've lived in that facility now 4 or 5 months-ish. and just literally learning the trends and the interest and the availability and such. So we're still living in it to learn more, and we are discussing programming it more in the next calendar year as well, to have even more offerings in there. So as Deputy Mayor Forster said, we continue to discuss it. We're going to look at what's going to go in there in addition to pickleball and basketball. So frankly, it may be possible, but we have to see what else we're going to program in there, its utilization. So please be patient with us. We hear you, but we're also trying to expand our offerings and see how that all works out with everybody. So thank you very much. We appreciate your.
And if you please call.
Of course, we
call
yeah.
Viera, call
Okay.
all
yeah.
these other
They do
clubs.
their research. Yes, sir. They certainly do. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Who's your next card?
Brian Mosier.
Brian. Name and address for the record, sir.
Yes, good evening. Brian Mosier, Frank's my neighbor. I'm right across the street, 37 Fernwood Drive North. Funny.
I just recognize who you were. It's been a long time since.
Yeah, it sure has. Sure
Did
has.
you move out of state?
Yeah. Yep. Back. I'm back in town.
Are you back?
Yep.
Okay, good.
So kids are in college and all that. So
You got a little bit of gray hair finally, huh?
yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Brian.
Well, that's all right. I just came in. You may be gonna talk about the hospital under reports. At least I hope to hear some good news. I haven't heard anything. Sitting here tonight, listening to the zoning issue, it pretty much sounds like everybody's resigned to it being closed, which is a shame. So I remember in the meeting, I was here at the last meeting, hospital meeting, and I think it was said that it was political at this point, and I was just hoping that there will be some news on the political front. I did want to add that there is a rally that I heard about. I think the Orlando Health employees are putting on across the street at Ashley's Friday from 1 to 3. So that's about it. It's a huge gut punch to everyone, and I just hope it's not a done deal.
Yeah,
It seemed like the best case scenario was just to maybe
It's a
keep
very
the-
big deal to us in the city of Rockledge. And as we speak, we have our legislators trying to work on the problem up in Tallahassee right now. They're in session right now. So they're working on that, but as far as an update, I don't have an update for you. And we're assuming it's going to close. We're assuming it's going to close.
That's what I'm afraid of.
And this is a private business, and it's going to be very hard to stop them from closing it.
Well, I've seen like moving trucks already pulled up around back.
Oh, yeah, they've already shut down a lot of parts of the hospital already.
So I'm just hoping at least, of urgent care or something, or.
No more.
And to me, I'm surprised that there's talk of tearing it down. There's got to be a use for that building, like a senior center or something. But it's a huge building.
They own it. They
Yeah,
paid $150 million for it, and they're going to tear it down.
Right. Well, I hope you keep your promise about, just keep it as a hospital zoning.
That's
And
our
maybe
plan.
you could throw that in their face right now.
That's our plan.
So.
Thank you, Brian.
Anyway, thanks a lot.
Good seeing you again. Welcome
you.
back. Anybody else? Seeing none, let's move forward here. City manager report?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a few things for you tonight. If I could, I'd like to ask Deputy Chief Seifrith and Lieutenant Herbner to please stand. And I'm proud to say that our police agency has received accreditation for our 4th time. And we are very, very, yep. We are very, very proud of these folks. For those of you who may not know too much about accreditation or reaccreditation, they have over 300 standards with which they must meet them all. And they do not, there was a word for it, but you can be relieved of a percentage of them, where you don't have to meet a small percentage of them. They don't do that. They meet every single one. So again, very proud of you all. Congratulations, and thank you so very much.
I know you did it all, Herbner. You did it all.
Quickly, the next, oh, sorry. Yeah, it's a great team. Thank you, Lieutenant. Next, I'd love to ask Mr. Trying to stand up. He's going to hate this, but I know, I'm sorry. But the audit, the annual audit, that deserves accolades as well. I think you heard the auditor say 160 or 80 pages. That's like a dissertation every year. I mean, literally, that number of pages, frankly, was longer than my dissertation. So, Matthew, great job. I know you did that almost single-handedly this year, and the city is very, very proud, and we thank you for your efforts. Thank you. And Councilwoman Martin, at the last council meeting, you asked about our EV charging stations outside, and I have a little bit of information for you and the council. So if you all recall, our first build occurrence happened in September 14th of 2022. Since that time, we have had 543 vehicles there charging up. That has generated $2,375.99 in revenue. And by measuring the power usage, kilowatt hours, we're able to determine the expense of that said usage. The expense was $996.38. Therefore, the city has made $1,379.61. So again, we're not losing money, Councilwoman. We're not making a fortune, but at least it is paying for itself. So that's the information for everybody. And again, lastly, many of us, 6 of our 7 council people, and myself and Mr. Trine will be in Tallahassee beginning Monday. And we thank you for allowing us to do that. Back to you, Mayor.
I will hold the fort down.
Yes, sir.
I love it.
Oh, look out. Let's go around the dais. City Clerk,
I'm good, thank you.
City Attorney.
I have nothing to report, Mayor.
I like your reports so far. Dr. Ferguson.
I'll be brief, Mr. Mayor. Just to piggyback on what Dr. Fetro mentioned about the FLC conference, we'll be there next week. I'm having and those of you all that are on the Space Coast League of Cities, I'm doing a conference call Friday at 10 with Florida League of Cities, as well as the president of Florida League of Cities. I'm asking if you all are available Friday at 10 a.m. Jump on the Zoom. It'll be 20 minutes, 30 minutes just to talk about making sure that we're organized as a Space Coast League. For those of you all that are going, there was a Florida League. Know before you go that email should be available. But this is going to be more specific to us, how it relates to us in our meetings and how we want to organize. Again, it's going to be brief. I promise it won't be one of my sermons, Frank. It'll be short and sweet, 20 minutes.
And you said that's on Friday?
Friday at 10 a.m. if you're available. That will be recorded. So therefore, if you're not able to jump on, hit the recording. We'll be sending it to you. Florida League of Cities will be sending it to you, or I can send it to you. I know Dwayne and Tara probably did not receive that. I will email that to you this evening. So you'll be able to jump on and be really a brief call. Today's advocacy meeting, as you know, I'm the advocacy chair for Florida League as well as Space Coast League, and a few things, of course, that before us. I'm not going to bore you with details and not even going to spend a lot of time. Just, there's some things that we're going to be looking at and spending time with these legislators focusing on, though Rockledge, we're always good about, our lobbyists make our appointments. Those will be done, but I'll actually be leading a team for the Space Coast League. And of course, those things that we have before us, property taxes, sovereign immunity, local business tax, entrepreneur fund transfers, which doctors talked about in the past because we have a utility as well as CRAs. And so there are a lot of things that potentially could negatively impact local cities kind of as we're moving forward. I think a lot of these things, of course, as we know, as we've seen, will die. Property tax is a big bill, even though Florida League doesn't seem to think that's going to be an issue this year, but possibly next year because of an election year. But anyway, moving right on, I want to appreciate, of course, Mrs. Wilson for being here. Thank you so much, and the residents for being here. I will say this in relationship, Mr. Mayor, to the hospital. I was in Tallahassee just to make you aware. I was in Tallahassee last week, of course, myself and Dr. Kador, and the hospital was a big piece of the conversation that was had last week. Tyler Soroy, as well as Senator Wright, were both present. I had the opportunity to speak to them one-on-one at the same time in a public forum to be able to address our concerns. And of course, they led it by saying their concern. They had received many, resolutions from surrounding cities that it's going to impact. And so I just want you to know, our residents as well as council to know, it is being discussed and it has been presented to the governor. Well, what that means, but hopefully, there'll be something out of the whole situation that comes out positive for us. But anyway, I just want you to know it is being discussed, in length in Tallahassee amongst our legislators, as well as discussion has been had with our governor as well. I want to say congratulations to our team. We have an amazing, incredible team that we continue to say saluting you guys for the hard work, because we know teamwork makes it happen, and you guys are, and even your ability tonight, though it was convoluted, John Cooper, but thank you, sir, for being on the forefront, keeping us informed, and always looking out for our city. But the accreditation and the congratulations, the audit, great job from our city staff as well. I want to just lead out, and as I close, is to just acknowledge the loss of Tracy. I never could get her last name right, and so I'm going to try to chop it up now. But not only a loss, obviously, for Dr. Fetro, but it's a tremendous loss for our city. And I think it would be noteworthy to have a moment of silence before we go, Mr. Mayor, if that's okay.
Go right ahead.
Just to acknowledge this time. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I yield.
Councilwoman Connor?
I second, but Dr. Ferguson, very sorry. I congratulate you and the team. Your hard work and performance evaluation is stellar. To get one like that myself someday. I did have an opportunity to represent the city and do some fun things in the last few weeks. I got to do the Kiwanis shoe distribution at Endeavor with Councilwoman. That was so much fun to allow all the kiddos to get new shoes and socks and to help them fit them and everything. So that was a fun day. And I also went to the Lift Every Voice at the Civic Hub, and that was a beautiful showcase of all of the local kiddos, their poetry and reading and dancing, and it was lovely. On the 28th, I got to go to Saturn Elementary for the first annual African American read-in. That was also delightful, so fun. I got to bring my son to that one, and he helped me read, so that was lovely. In the Little League opening day ceremony, I attended that with everyone, and yesterday I did the M2X ribbon cutting. So that was right there on Barnes. There's a giant building that I've driven by a million times, and I was not aware that they have built this wonderful tool, I guess you'd call it, that will process the methane from landfills and turn it into a usable green methanol that can be used for adhesives and paints and good things for the environment. So yeah, it was a lot of fun times this last few weeks. Staying very busy. I thought Christmas would be the busiest time, but apparently I was mistaken. But yes, thank you. I yield.
Councilman Dasky?
Roy, just a couple things, and it's going to be repetitive. I now realize why this spot is not the ideal spot, and where Councilman Ferguson is the ideal spot. But I could just sit here and say ditto, 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 ditto. But I'll just go over a couple things. Little League opening day ceremony. we do a lot of events, and I won't say that's my favorite, but it's right up there with my favorites. And I enjoy taking the videos, and then I post them, and it's amazing how many people reach out to me and say, "Hey, there's my child," or seeing them run around the base. This year we got to see the city clerk run around the bases, so good job on that as well, and her daughter as well. So, it's just a good event, and glad that I can participate in that. The fire station, congratulations to the city of Rockledge, congratulations to the public safety department, and to all those that made that happen. It's incredible. I've kind of watched that from the start to finish, and to really see where it's come from and where it is now, it's just incredible. I can't wait till the next station is done and we can say in the city of Rockledge that we have 3 fire stations that are just state-of-the-art and absolutely beautiful and center points of the city. So congratulations to everyone on that. Congratulations on recreditation to the Public Safety Department. Good job. I had no doubt that you would get it done, so great job on that. Matt, you and your team continue to do a great job, so congratulations on that. Brenda, you and I have talked, and I'll echo that sentiment as well. Tracy will definitely be missed. I'm glad to see that the EV chargers are actually turning a small profit, because at least we know that it's not coming out of taxpayer money, so that's a positive thing. And that's all I have. I'm looking forward to the trip to Tallahassee. It's my first trip. I've been wanting to do it for years and just could never make it work. This year it worked, so I'm looking forward to it. I yield.
Oh my God. Honored to be on the dais, honored to be able to serve Rockledge, and I'll utilize my time just thanking that crew in the back. You guys are absolutely phenomenal, and tonight just was another showcasing of that to each of you. Matthew, VJ, I think the accreditation piece is huge. Being in law enforcement, that just gives us the ability to be one of the top agencies in the nation, if you will. And of course, Mr. Cooper, your presentation, it allows us to do what we do. I'd like to just thank Nathan, is it? Thank you for being here. Not only have our citizens, someone younger, to be able to speak on that, it allows us to be able to do some better things within our city as well. You know I'm going to call on you, Miss Alberta. Don't even shake your head. How you doing? It's always good. Oh, yes, ma'am. Always good to see you. And I think, Miss Juanita, thank you being here and presenting that tonight. It allows us to be able to move forward in a positive direction for our city as well. And to our pickleball pro that was here a little bit earlier, thank you for coming, and the gentleman in the back, thank you so much for being here. But again, honored to serve and being a part of this dais. I yield.
Councilwoman Martin.
Just a few things. I think we have so much that we're sharing because we haven't had a meeting since, I think it was February 19th, and also because we have folk in the audience other than our staff. Look at them back there. They're so ready to go. But anyway, to talk to. So thank you all for being here. And of course, my good friend Juanita, I think it's a shame, 28 years as a Rockledge resident, and this is your first council meeting other than when I got sworn in 2017, I think. And of course, my good friend, Miss Wilson, thank you for being here. February was just full of a lot of Black History Month activities, and I just want to note that I did participate in a read-in at Suntree Elementary. Also, Tara mentioned the Kiwanis Shoe Drive. That was at Endeavor. We gave out over 300 pairs of shoes, tennis shoes and socks to students at Endeavor. And like she said, that is a experience that once you have, you don't want to miss another one. And as soon as February got over, on March 1st, I was the speaker for Greater St. Paul Baptist Church in Cocoa for their Let's Talk ministry. kicked off Women's History Month, participating in that. And just want to mention March 29th, the Kiwanis Club is hosting their annual golf tournament, and it will be at the Rockledge Country Club. The whole sponsorships are $150, and the Kiwanis Club supports Rockledge Little League. They also provide scholarships, and they, of course, the shoe drives, and they also donate to foster children. So this is a good opportunity for us to give back if you're interested in participating. Again, it's March 29th at the Rockledge Country Club is their annual golf tournament. Also, I place cards at everyone's place here for the Gospel on the Lawn, which is on April 18th, right here at the Civic Hub from 5 to 7. And I am honored that this year's our special guest is FAMU Gospel Choir. So if you want to hear some good singing, please mark your calendar. It's from 5 to 7 p.m. right here at at our Civic Hub. And just quickly, I mentioned I talked to Dr. Fetro right after our meeting where the Public Safety Department, where we approved acceptance of the armored vehicle from Loomis. And I was particularly concerned because it does not appear that the city has a donation policy. And that is something that I think we definitely need to have, whether someone wants to give the city, for instance, even that eraser board. I mean, that's a minor thing for someone to donate, but if someone wanted to leave the city property, or in particular the armored vehicle, just having documentation of a memorandum for the council to have approved that bothered me when I left this meeting. A handshake occurring, and then we obtain a $200,000 vehicle, and there is nothing documented as to how that transpired. I really walked away from this meeting bothered by that. So I would like to see staff come up with a donation policy. I've actually done some research. Other cities do have them. We need to put it in place because especially someone could ask for documentation on how that actually transpired. And from my understanding, it was just, I don't know if it was a handshake or a side conversation, but the only thing that council had before us at our last meeting when we took action on accepting that vehicle was a memo from the city manager. And to me, that's just not good business practice. Dr. Fetro?
If the chair might allow me. Thank you, Councilwoman. Yeah, I did some more research on that and discussed it with our CFO. I think Matthew may, if the council would allow, might want to speak as well. We have y'all had approved a policy regarding grants just 2 or 3 meetings ago, authorizing me to establish a grants acquisition, administration, and closeout procedures, and which I've done, and it's quite extensive. It's 3 pages. In fact, I think I have it with me tonight. And that is something that we followed that process in consulting with the CFO and the chief, and reviewed if it's good for the city. It went through the steps in that procedure. And so we did do all of that. And subsequent to that, Councilwoman, I talked with the city attorney as well. And he advised, he said that was appropriate, that many cities, and I'll let Wade speak as well, but many cities acquire donations, whether it's an armored vehicle. Our Hummer had been donated many, many years ago. There is occasion where properties are donated, development projects, wastewater pipes are donated. Other things are deeded over to the city. And so once those assets come into the city, we also have an extensive process to properly record them. It goes into our fixed asset. So whenever this vehicle does come, city attorney, it'll be properly, the tag will be properly recorded and done as such. It'll go in our fixed assets document and properly tracked every single year that finance does via the audit. So there is a process in place. It was, again, just allowing the city to accept it versus the chief asking to buy one at $300,000. There'll be many, many steps that will happen once the vehicle does come to the city eventually in 3 to 5 months, whenever that happens.
My
if that
concern,
helps
Dr.
you.
Fetro, and council, with all due respect, is not the process that we use internally once we obtain something, but it's the process on the front end. And many cities have donation policies, donation receipt policies. And with regard to that transaction in particular, the only thing that we don't even have anything from Loomis in writing stating that they gave us that property. The only thing we have is the only thing the council had before us was the memo from the city manager asking us to accept it. I would have felt more comfortable if we would have at least had something from Loomis stating that they were giving this to the city. But many cities do have donation receipt policies. I'm not concerned. We know that we well track things and hold on to things even before we salvage them. So I'm not concerned about our internal processes as far as property tagging and making sure for ownership purposes and going through the DMV and making sure the tag is properly transferred. I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about the proper documentation of how we receive items. And it just, to me, wasn't prudent the way that there was no documentation from Loomis even giving us that. And there is no state statute. I've researched that, but there are many cities, and I can share with you, Dr. Fetro, there are many cities that have donation receipt processes. And like I said, it just gave me heartburn when I walked away from here, not knowing how we actually came about receiving that. And, appearance, we want to shun the appearance of evil, if I can conclude with that without belaboring it.
This is not the first time this has been brought up. About 20 years ago, we formed a 501(c)(3). It's formed by the city, and I think it's still good. We did that for people donating property to the city that wanted a tax write-off. So we do have one.
It's up to you, Mayor, if you'd allow Matthew to speak.
Are you aware of it, Matthew?
Yeah, the Heritage Fund.
Good evening, Council. First of all, I would apologize as to form and substance of any communication to Council. Director Crawford and the city manager and I met extensively and over a period of time in regards to the donation of the vehicle. If there's anything lacking in a memo or support that should have gone to Council, I'll take responsibility for that, and I would like to present you with whatever data you need to make your decisions and deliberations. So if there is a lack of substance or form of documentation that you would like to see, I apologize for that, and we will address that in the future. That being said, the city does have all of the things Dr. Fetcher said was spot on, as always, it seems. And we do have a policy that is a grants policy that is all encompassing of non-transactional, non-market value transactions with any party, whether they be governments or private citizens or companies that wish to bequeath or donate monies or properties to the city. We have a policy in place that empowered Dr. Fetcher to come up with a procedure. We deliberated on a procedure and made recommendations for Dr. Fetcher's consideration that are based on the Government Finance Officers Association's best practices, as well as the Government Accounting Standard Board's best practices. and they are linked within that procedure. We typically have not brought procedures to council once Dr. Fetcher has been authorized to create a procedure. When she's been given a policy to create a procedure, then she bears that authority and works with the subject matter experts within the city to draft those procedures. I will assure the council, to the extent that it's beneficial at this time, that Director Crawford, Dr. Fetro made many inquiries in my presence in regards to any kind of financial burden or operating cost in regards to receipt of this vehicle, including the insurance costs. And we made inquiries of, not to speak for him because he's here to my right, but we made inquiries of Mr. VJ to make sure that his team had the expertise and capabilities to service the vehicle, that the fuel and the DEF situation on the vehicle was appropriate and in compliance. These are just some of the things I know that we did that were in line with our procedures. But what I would like to say is, again, we didn't reduce that to writing and present it to you as council. And for that, I apologize that information wasn't shared with you. I'll take responsibility for that. It's the director's job to draft memos for Dr. Fetro to approve and bring to council. So I was part of that. Crawford's not here, but since I was part of that, if there is some sort of responsibility, I'll take responsibility for that. But I will say that we did follow our existing procedure, and the procedure was drafted in compliance with the policy. We do have a 501c3. Mr. Mayor is 100% correct on that. It is the Rockledge Heritage Foundation. It was founded originally, I believe, to apply for and administer a grant or a series of grants to redo some of the 11 Orange Avenue property that is the former City Hall. And there was a grand opening some years ago, maybe 2012, 2013, a grand reopening in association with that. It lives on to this day. Mr. Cooper is on that board, as well as Dr. Fetro, and I have the pleasure of serving with them. So someone could donate to that 501c3, and then following proper procedures, the Heritage Foundation could then transfer that property to the city. The Heritage Foundation is included in the city's audit. The city exerts so much control over the Heritage Foundation that for all intents and purposes, it is what's called a blended component unit, meaning that it is part and parcel of the city. However, people can donate things directly to the city and still write it off on their taxes. Donations to governmental entities, which are subdivisions of the state government or the federal government, are tax-deductible donations. They don't have to go through a 501c3 to do that. However, it is my understanding in consultation with Crawford and Dr. Fetcher that Loomis is going to, for all intents and purposes, basically sell us the vehicle at a very discounted price. Less than $100 is my current understanding, and I may be wrong in that, and I apologize. I don't have the paperwork with me tonight. But there is going to be a minor financial transaction that will allow the city clerk to handle the processing of title and everything, to just kind of settle everything from a legal standard. I hope that is helpful in any way
Okay,
to you.
and I understand, and thank you for thoroughly explaining that,
Yes, ma'am.
Matthew. But again, not just, and I don't have any problem with the vehicle. My concern is that we do not have a donation procedure in place. And if we do, that should have accompanied our request that came before council. And from talking to Dr. Fetro, there is not an admin policy. And it's something that I really would like to see us, if you all feel that the grant or 501c is enough to cover us, okay, I can respect that, because we lean to you all for the expertise. But just going forward, when things like this are put before us, I would just like to see more support documentation. But if like I said, if you feel that the mayor, if the 501c covers us accepting these type of gifts, donations, even if it's a penny, then fine. But just going forward, our packages should have had more support documentation.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am,
you.
I apologize about that. I'll submit better documentation.
Tthank you.
Deputy Mayor.
Just one last thing on that. I think the fact that the council agreed to accept that vehicle, there was no legal transaction taking place at that time. I mean, we can say, oh yeah, you can give us a truck, but until, correct me if I'm wrong here, but until somebody produces a title and signs it over, and so nobody's got anything, have they?
To your point, the action you took was effectively approving that
Right.
they've indicated they want to give it to the city, and
Right.
And you're right. If it came to be that they change their mind or what have you, then we don't have a title in hand and it's not transferred, and I imagine that would be reported back.
Until they sign the title and give it to us, there's been no. So,
But we kind of put the cart before the horse, though.
well, we basically gave them permission to negotiate and make a deal. That's how I look at it. But moving on, the meeting last week was interesting. Those of you who missed it, the Boomer Fest down at the Frank Forrester Recreation Center that Dr. Cador and I attended, totally unknowingly. I had no idea what I was getting into when I walked in. The place was jamming. Every parking spot in that park was full. It was crazy. And of course, I walk up and Cador's kidnapping me, going, "Here, come with me. We got to go do this." I'm like, "Okay." But I was asked to make a short report on the TPO meeting that I attended last week, and I will keep it very short. Basically, the main topic that came up at that meeting, they were talking about public transit on demand, and which is basically public Uber service that would operate within a certain zone. If you needed to go from Titusville to another place in Titusville, you could call this service and they would come pick you up just like Uber and give you a ride. If you need to go from Titusville to Merritt Island, you would have to get a ride to the bus stop and then take the bus to Merritt Island. It's a thing that I had a little bit of a problem with is they had divided the county into 4 zones, and Rockledge was not in any of the 4. I thought very strange. Told them that they weren't getting any support from me for the plan until they were included. What they were really doing is setting up a pilot program going to include the Cocoa Zone, because that showed, according to their data, the largest need for such a service. They're going to try it out there. I'm going to keep raising hell with them until they include us. They didn't include north of Titusville either. Nothing in Mims or Scottsmore. I think it would be a high transit need area. So that's basically main item at the meeting. I will try to, I'll bring in the whole packet and give it to Dr. Keeps it. I think that's gonna let's go home.
But Dwayne, you think that's bad. This is the worst spot. Because everything's been said, time to get back here. And that's been 37 minutes for everybody to speak. That's a long time for this council. But anyway,
Let things get out of control here, Mr. Mayor.
it got out of control. But anyway, I'm going to close out this meeting, but everybody has in front of them one of their T-shirts in front of them. Bought you that T-shirt, wear it proudly. And it's a donation to the fire department. And it's going to a good cause. So thank you for everybody being here in the audience. And if there's nothing else, I'll adjourn this meeting at 8:24.
Good night.